Now, time for some real-world transformation insights. Please welcome Hervé Lafau, Chief Procurement Officer and Sustainability Leader at the Heineken Company, who will share their groundbreaking journey into digital and agentic AI frontiers.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Hervé Lefao. I'm the CPO of Heineken, and I would like to thank you for welcoming me in the Zycus Fire Chat, Arthur. And before I start, I would like to present Heineken a little bit at a glance. It all started in 1864 with the Heineken Company, 160 years ago, when Gerhard Adrian Heineken, the founder, started to produce its first beer in the Amsterdam Brewery, which is today known as the Heineken Experience Museum, one of the most visited landmarks in the Netherlands. And today, the group is 30 billion euro revenue at 250 million hectoliter. We have 350 brands, 160 breweries on 80 markets, and we are the second biggest brewer of the world and the most geographically widespread, having operations in almost 25 countries in each continent. And if you take Mexico, Brazil, Nigeria, South Africa, India, Vietnam, and the top 6 Western Europe countries that represent more than 70% of the group revenue, we are number 1 also in cider, and we do wine and spirits as well, having recently acquired the Distell business in South Africa. And our most famous global brands are Heineken, of course, Amstel, Sol, Desperados, Birra Moretti, Italian, Tiger, Sol in Asia, Tecate in Mexico, and Lagunitas. And what's important to know is we are a decentralized model, which means that every operational company, OpCo, still has full decision power. And that is important to say when we talk about systems, that it makes it more difficult, of course, to implement standard systems at scale throughout 80 markets. But still, we are proud to say that this is what we've did in procurement throughout the Zycus implementation and driving, therefore, scale and simplicity and therefore performance. The idea of setting up the procurement function with a robust end-to-end source-to-pay suite has started in 2017 when I started as CPO, because at the time the existing systems were coming to an end from a life cycle perspective. And that was the time where we started a partnership with Zycus, having a clear vision in mind to gear the organization with simple, robust systems that would simplify the life of our teams with high adoption rates. And in 2018, we implemented the Zycus source-to-contract suite across 70 markets in a fully standardized way. And then 4 years after, we became the lead partner to co-develop the purchase-to-pay suite, P2P suite, trying to have a full end-to-end solution and limit the number of interfaces with potential other systems. And in 2024, by the end of last year, therefore, 100% of our OpCos were equipped with source-to-contract, and we are halfway through the implementation of the P2P suite as part of a broader digital backbone transformation happening in our company at the moment. And this year, like many other multinational companies, we are exploring a certain number of GenAI use cases to leapfrog into the future towards a hands-free procurement vision. And to come back a bit more in details to where it all started back then in 2017, there was a clear case for change. We were experiencing all the flaws of a decentralized business. A contract was stored manually in SharePoint. OpCos and central teams were having different versions of it, and it was limiting the performance of our negotiations. And there was a lot of frustration from a user experience perspective. Just for the little story, for example, I was still signing myself 1,000 contracts a year with a pen and an ink, and it felt the organization was spending way too much time on administrative tasks, impacting the quality of our business and suppliers' partnership. So something had to change, obviously. And the implementation of the source-to-contract suite, it brought rapidly with Zycus some significant improvements. There was a time where I gave an ambition to deliver very significant cost saving. We were going after a 1 billion euro savings cost challenge to the organization. And after seeing much clearer, thanks to Zycus, into our spend analytics, the e-sourcing and the e-auction modules, they helped us professionalize and standardize the process of the selection of the future suppliers. We were going after a consolidated redesign of our supplier base in search of the most performant ones. And we delivered north of significant savings after 2,000 sourcing events, 1,000 e-auctions, and that delivered double-digit percentage savings numbers that we could measure in our systems. And then the outcome of these events were crystallized into a proper contract repository accessible by all in Zycus, and central teams and local teams therefore had a single source of truth, and that allowed us to reach high adoption rates on the newly negotiated contracts with very little leakage. And last but not least, we had clear KPI dashboards that allowed us to gain much more credibility from an internal audit perspective. So altogether, that worked very well. And where are we today? So on the source to contract suite, now already implemented since 4 or 5 years ago to 100% of our OpCos, the evolution of the tech world out there, as you know, is going exponential. So there are always risks that part of the Zycus modules could be outperformed by external solutions. But here the idea is to keep upgrade the Zycus modules as timely as possible so that we keep a coherent suite and a high degree of performance. On the P2P suite, we are halfway through deployment. It is going well, but like on any new development where we are first in row, there are always, of course, some glitches to fix until we find a high degree of user experience. But I'm glad to see the mobilization of the Zycus team about it. We are confident about the outcome, of course, and we keep having successful go-lives one after another anyway. And in parallel, we're already thinking about the next phase, and we're exploring with Zycus, but also with some other partners, the developments of agentic AI, like intake management and AI-powered tender coach through the Merlin Zycus Advanced modules. Let me share a couple of lessons learned on our journey. And the first one is don't underestimate change management. You need to be properly resourced for such a transformation from both sides. And don't think that the work stops after go live, right? There's always a long phase afterwards required to fine-tune the systems, fix the glitches, adapt to local specificities while not giving up on the standardization principle until you reach high NPS scores. It takes time. And because what is key is the adoption rate and the fact that your organization is happy about the system, easing their lives and driving performance and enabling them to focus on the supplier and the business partnership part. The second learning is, there's always that debate between, having one end-to-end suite or a best-of-breed solution, where, there's no perfect solution. And so be very clear right from the beginning to your teams and to your stakeholders as to what will be the advantages, but also the disadvantages, and manage expectations and don't sell a dream. And the third learning is that keep your eyes on the prize. Yeah, you will have a tendency to focus on the technical excellence part, while your business stakeholders will be very quickly after the business return of the investment. And this is where you need to have a robust business KPI dashboard that allows you to prove the value generated right from the beginning. So, what is the agentic AI phase that we are into with Zycus and that we are exploring at the moment? We see 6 main areas where agentic AI can make a difference. And I've summarized that with very simple little sentences to remember. The first one is, let me negotiate that for you. This is where a negotiation agent can run simple negotiations on non-strategic suppliers and freeing up the time of your global category leaders. Let me find that for you. And this is where you can ask simple questions to find market or competitive intel. For example, what is our COGS per hectoliter development throughout each quarter, or what is the spend of OpCo XYZ, etc. Let me explain to you. This is where you can summarize a long 100-page contract. Happens a lot, for example, on IT, to help you understand what it is about. Let me walk you through. This is where you are going to reach high adoption rates in terms of compliance of your stakeholders on the adherence to the proper challenge management or the process flows that needs to be followed. Let me design that for you, and this is where you can replace a long process of finding a new ad, for example, for a brand, avoiding the phase of the brief with the marketeers, the creative agencies, the production agency, until you find the right ad graphic immediately ready for the marketeers. And finally, let me code that for you. And this is where system interfaces can be created out of common language, common data lakes, and easing up the data analytics flows into insights that truly matters at company level. So it's in short, it's a leapfrog into the future in terms of speed, time well spent of your organization, and transactional free tasks in procurement. So, if I deep dive into two use cases that we're exploring with Zycus at the moment through the Merlin agentic AI modules. The first one is channel management, where we make it easy for users to capture their requirements and then guide them automatically through the right buying channels. That avoids having an army of procurement managers spread across the organization and waiting to be asked by users how to do the job. And at the same time, it drives compliance and performance and enables you to shift profiles of your organization to some more strategic tasks. The second one is autonomous negotiation agent, which helps both prepare for high strategic negotiations, but as well as less strategic and more commoditized suppliers that will be negotiated through an agentic AI, freeing up the time of your people. Exciting. So as a conclusion, we are on a race to finish implementing our Zycus end-to-end source-to-pay suite so that it acts as a robust, efficient platform or backbone with high adoption rate and high user experience NPS scores. And then take on the race of agentic AI, we've already started, to future-proof our organization and go towards hands-free procurement. We truly believe that agentic AI can revolutionize the way we work and the way we interact with our stakeholders and the way we do business. There's a race out there with other multinational companies that has started, and this is about finding the right partner to make you win. Zycus, for me, is definitely among the most advanced partners in this area, and on which we count, strong of the partnership we've created to lead us to success. It requires a capability shift for sure that you will see in our procurement organization, and they will look fundamentally different in just 3 to 5 years from now. So like we say, AI, it won't take our jobs, but talents using AI will. So let's get ready for the future. And I would like to say a big thank you to the Zycus organization for the quality of the partnership and the exciting adventure we are on together.
Thank you, Hervé, for those valuable insights from Heineken's journey. We have an excellent question from the chat that I think many organizations can relate to. For organizations that are just beginning to explore intake management and agentic AI in procurement, what advice would you offer to establish a strong foundation and ensure successful implementation of AI-driven solutions? Hervé, what would your guidance be based on Heineken's experience?
Thank you. That's a good question. So I would say, first, establish a clear vision and define your objective. What are the challenges you see AI being able to address? Set measurable KPIs and the value proposition to track your effectiveness. Be mindful that data is everything, so don't neglect the data foundation, and standardization is king. Start with a few pilots that proves the value case, and then you scale up to the organization. Ensure governance, compliance, also the ethical use of AI, clear policies and safeguards in place, and focus on change management and user adoption. And of course, choose your technology partners carefully, in-house or outside.
Thank you, Hervé, for that compelling insight. I certainly hope you are enjoying the event, and for everyone, please do keep an eye on our leaderboard. Active participants are climbing the ranks. And just a quick reminder, our AI agent is ready in the reception area to show you agentic AI in action.